Hey everybody, Jamie Pate here. Welcome to this video where we are finishing up some pages in our December 23 album. If you're following along in the series, then you know that we have gone through story 14. If you are brand new, welcome. There are links to all our other walkthroughs and process videos for this December album 2023. So today I have 4 things to show you. So story 15 is pretty minimalistic, and I love popping these in here every once in a while just to give emphasis to the story at hand and to get it in the book. And this was a page that I titled Believe. There's just a lot to what is happening behind the scenes here with this particular daughter of mine. And I loved using this little Baking Spirits Bright from the 49 Market Christmas Spectacular ephemera. It was perfect for what was happening here. And then I just typed out my story. It's something I've been doing this whole entire 23 album, is typing out the story, because it's easier to read because my handwriting's okay, but not everybody can read it. And number 2, the emphasis this time has really been on the story. And so to sit down to my computer and just kind of let my fingers go to work while my mind is telling the story has been part of the gift of this album this year. And I've shared previously that I have been throwing in these art journal pages, what I'm calling art journal pages, because they're mixed media pages. So this one is a couple layers of paint, and then some stamping, just some random stamping throughout. I have rub-ons from the Christmas Spectacular in the background, which I love doing that. I added some of the laser cuts, the poinsettia here, and I have a little tag here that's also cardstock. And then I used one of the rub-ons to create my number, the 16. And so that was this week's edition of the art journal portion of what I wanted to add. So that brings us to December 17th. That literally does, I think this literally actually happened on this day. So story 17 was my kids and loving to do the gingerbread houses. And my one daughter did this gingerbread truck, which was so cool. And so I used vellum to create an additional page that layered over pattern paper. I popped a photo on the front, and then I wrapped it with, I have this old baker's twine. It's almost like vintage. I don't even know where it came from, but it works perfect. I love it. And one of the tickets to mark the story number. Then I just did a collage inside of the shenanigans and a full-on story, because there was a lot to tell to this particular story. So that basically takes us up to story 18, and let me show you by way of process how I'm going to put that one together. Okay, today's story is about my paper whites that were growing. They're all gone now, but they were growing beautifully in the front room. And so the page I have in my mind for this is going to be a bit of a shorter page. I've talked about in the past how I like to kind of just change it up and have different sizes going on here. So that's what that is about. So this is some new mixed media paper. Great weight. It is, if you know the GSMs, it is 400 GSM. I need to find out what the pound is because it doesn't say on here. But I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to put on it, so I decided to go with this smooth mixed media paper. And so I'm trimming my paper. It's already 6 at one side to 6.5. I have a little template here to mark where the holes go. So I'm going to go ahead and mark those. And then, let's see. That's done. I'm just going to set this aside because I don't quite know what's going to go on it by way of embellishment yet. I do know I want this to be on here, and I want it to flip. So we're going to make our flip now. So this particular photo, it's an odd kind of shape. I did it 3 inches wide. Yeah, I think it's a 3x5. Yes, 3x5. Kind of an odd size. I print at home, so that's why I can kind of get away with doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and trim a separate 12 by 12 piece of paper. I'm going to cut it 3 inches wide, and then I'm going to move this to score mode, and I'm going to then score at, I'm going to score it at 5 inches, so it's going to be cut in half. Yeah, and then I'm going to score 2 inches at the top. So that makes it 5 and 5 and 2. And just going to go ahead and fold my scores. Done with, I'm pretty sure I'm done with this. I'm going to go ahead and remove it. Okay, so the idea here is that I just wanted to have fun with putting a flip on my book and using a clip. I have one over here to clip it so it can come off, just for funsies. Like the rest of these pages, I'm just being creative and having fun with the idea. So I'm going to go ahead and get this ready because it's going to come off the page. So to embellish the page, then I can just remove it and do that. So I've added this clip. You can use any kind of paper clip. I just happen to have these gold clips from a class I taught a while ago. And I'm going to then just add a piece of adhesive across the top here, just to hold that in place, and it's also going to hold my paper in place. I'm eager to try this idea. I saw this on someone's YouTube channel, and I loved it for a photo album. It wasn't being used for a photo album, but I loved it for that idea. Okay, so we're just going to make sure my folds, because I want this to be able to lay relatively flat. I'm going to go ahead and add these adhesive strips to my little 2-inch flap and go ahead and adhere my photo to that flap. And then that part is all done, and I'll show you how then it just kind of goes on and off. So I'll make sure I get this lined up here as straight as I can. Okay. And so now that's in place. Oh, and look at the weight of the paper. That's great. I'm sorry, the weight of the photo now keeps it flat on the page. So now this can just slip on there, and now I can flip it up, and my journaling can be in here. And I might even add an additional piece of pattern paper there just to cover that, but we'll see how it goes. But my journaling will for sure be found here, and so now I'm going to embellish the rest of it. Okay, so to jump into finishing up this page, I decided to create a little lift, and so I'm using a piece of ephemera, Deck the Halls, which I thought was appropriate for what the story is. And I'm using the rub-ons here to grab, it's kind of a stitched look. I just wanted to add a bit of texture by way of the rub-on there at the bottom of the page, kind of centered it. This is sort of a different approach to embellishments for me. These aren't going to be very layered at all. And it was just a matter of just having fun. I really had no plan going into this, and I know sometimes that can be scary, but I'm really learning, and I've shared that often on this channel. I'm just really learning to stop overthinking the things. Now, I did want to add this word joy onto my page, and I mentioned before, I'm using the new mixed media paper from ScrapbookCom, and I've used it already before, and it's a very lovely weight. It's a very lovely surface. I'm looking forward to exploring more with this. The thing is, when I added my rub-on, which I've never had any trouble with 49 Market rub-ons, so I don't know if something got on it, but I could not get the joy to completely adhere to my page. There's just a small little line there at the bottom right side. You can probably see it there. So I'm going to be fuddling with it here and trying to get it to stick. And when I just realized, you know what, it's just not going to stick. So I don't know if something got on the paper or something got on the rub-on, but I'm just disclaiming the fact here that I had a bit of a challenge. And you know what I did? I let it go. I'm embracing it. I kind of figured I'm not even going to notice it. So, you know, sometimes you just got to let the things go. It wasn't worth at all just completely scrapping the page and not doing it at all. So I'm just embracing it. I'm adding a merry and bright, which completely what this little story is here. This was just such a bright room, and these flowers are just bringing the merry to me. I know. I'm old. What can I say? I love the simple things in life. And then I'm trying to add in 18 to specify the story number. And it just wasn't fitting as a full ticket that it is. So, you know, just trim the ticket.
Doesn't have to be a ticket. And so I'm adding that in there with just a little bit of roller adhesive here, and I like it. I like how kind of linear this page is feeling. That's kind of making me happy. And of course, then I'm like, okay, I have the other side. I kind of got to balance it out. What am I going to do? So I just grabbed piece of ephemera, another piece of ephemera. This is a star. I kept it black because I felt the black balanced with the green. Super happy with how this turned out. I love my little flippy. Am I going to use it? I don't know, but I really like it. So I'm going to get it placed into the album. I hope this was helpful to you. I hope you found some value here. Let me know what you think in the comments. I will see you in the next video.